this isn't what it looks like. I didn't do anything wrong. Okay, so I may or may not have caused something that might inexplicably destroy our entire multiverse. And I am holding this gun because everyone's trying to kill me for it. It is not my fault that I have an opinion. It is not my fault. Okay? I'm reviewing this movie because I want to. Okay? I shouldn't be shot at for this. I shouldn't be shot at. However, apparently people don't want me to review this because they like to know that their opinion is their opinion. They don't want to hear anyone say anything bad about it. But I have to review it as a critic. I have to. I mean, okay, believe it or not, I do like some things. I enjoy a nice, good bottle of A&W root beer. I enjoy a good video game. I enjoy the smell of fresh cut grass. I enjoy the smell of raindrops. And I enjoy torturing and messing with Austin to the greatest extent that I can. Especially with Ice Age. And also A Nightmare on Elm Street. Because fuck that movie. But I do enjoy this movie. It's just, as a critic, I need to say the bad things, the good things, and the things that were just effed up as hell. So, if you're wondering what movie I am specifically talking about, if you hadn't read it in the title card, or in the description down below, it is Ed and Eddy's Big Picture Show. Yes, it is that movie, and it is finally time that I got around to it. I was going to do it on the anniversary, which was in March, but things got effed up. My schedule was completely off track at that point, and I had not really done what I was going to do. But it's finally about time that I review this movie and all of its fuck-uppery. Alright, so contrary to what we've had before in recent Ed and Eddy episodes, and somewhat in the specials, we actually come upon a pretty calm cul-de-sac. Very contrary to what we've had before. And a panoramic camera angle of all the beauty of what's going on in the lovely cul-de-sac. Dandelion sprouts are flying through the breeze. The little pitter-patter of sprinklers going off. Pitter-patter, pitter-patter. We come across a chessboard with a soda and varnish next to it. I suppose it was that time of day when Plank and Johnny were going to play chess. Or checkers, whichever they play. We then cut to an innocent little sight of a hopscotch being drawn. And then we get the curving, disastrous line that then leads to broken chalks and a fallen ice cream cone with ants crawling all over it, and a skateboard with squeaky wheels. As that is inevitably focused on for a good couple seconds, like, what the hell, do we really need to focus on frickin' ice cream being devoured by ants? I'm hungry. I want that damn ice cream. I want that ice cream, damn it. I want it! We then come to the and we see a silhouette of Naz, a very frightened and disastrous little portrait done of her, or silhouette, as I should say, with the ground cracked open and stuff all over, trees fallen. And then we go over to a site where it looks like a record player had been destroyed. It was a bowling ball, more cracked ground. After we go back to a close-up of the ice cream with the ants dancing all over it. Yeah, like we really need that. And then we get another vision over to a sky view of a lane where fences are broken, an ice cream truck is toppled over, a water pipe is sticking out of the ground, spewing water every which way. And I'm wondering in my head, what in the hell did they do? What did they do this time? They've broken the laws of physics. They've broken the laws of reality itself. They've broken the fourth wall. Breaking reality itself is hard enough. They shot themselves up into the air, into the sky, and actually hit the sky. Cracking the sky all around and giving us static. And no, not the Marvel superhero from back in when I was a child, like 2009, maybe 10. Not that static, but the static you get on TVs. Again, not the same one. Don't confuse. And then we cut over to Ed's room where he bams into the door, breaks it off, and then he starts trying to take his sock off with his teeth. I question everywhere you have stepped, Ed. I question everything with how much of a disgusting slob you are, that you have flies, dirt, and fumes coming off your stinky foot. You have coming off your stinky foot. You stick that thing in your mouth? When do you ever take your socks? But I'm ranting now. Anyway, he finally gets his sock off, and he starts putting shit in that sock like there's no friggin' tomorrow. Seriously, I'm still one. They never even say what they did. They never say what they did. They never. All we get is little tidbits and hints. I'm sure the ice cream truck probably had something to do with it all. But okay, back to what we were talking about. Okay, so. Alright, so we cut to a scene where Jimmy and Sarah are trying to film themselves as Sarah's being a movie director, Jimmy's being a swashbuckling pirate, because that fits Jimmy to a T. Seriously, that kid needs to bulk up or he will never survive high school. Never. And we end up having Ed smash through the wall again, and taking a bunch of sponges and throwing them up in the air. Like, be free, my friends. Like, what? Why? Why are you setting free sponges? Why are you setting free sponges? They're not even living. Okay, I am getting way more worked up than I should. But believe me, it's not over. It's not over. I gotta take off my sweatshirt for this. I'm still keeping my guard up. Anyway, we then cut to Ed, or Double D, who is trying to write a goodbye letter to his family. Beloved parents, it is with great shame. Guy, I know you have great shame over what you did, but can you tell us what you did? Can you finish your note about what you did? Can you do anything that tells us what the hell you did? What in hell did you do? Oh, okay. he gets angry as he's writing the note, and he's like, "Demented, thoughtless, heartful." And his handwriting gets messy every. Excuse me, I just had a sandwich. With every word, and when he finally gets done messing up the word hurtful, he's like, "Oh, what have we done?" Starts crying. Ed breaks through the door again. Breaks through Double D's door, and it's like, "Double D!" So then we finally cut over to Eddy, and he's grabbing his girly magazines and his shirts and everything, and putting it all into a suitcase, and just sitting on it to try and get everything in there. He finally gets it locked and has trouble trying to lift it off the bed. He finally gets it off the bed, it slams right on top of him, and then explodes. It explodes. You got too many girly magazines. You gotta get rid of some. I know they're nice, but okay, I'm just gonna stop while I'm ahead. And finally, there's a knock at the door, and Eddy's trying to pretend to be his mother, vacuuming the. My little Eddy's not home right now. Like what? Ed breaks the door down. Ed, what is up with you? Why are you distraught? Why is there so much property damage with you? Why is there so much property damage? I don't understand. And all the while, everything's going on. They see a silhouette of something coming through the window and immediately try to leave through the front door. Someone's banging on the front door right as Eddy gets to the front door. And all three of them decide to run up to Eddy's brother's room. Foreshadowing. Apparently, because Eddy's brother's room. Like, what else is going to happen? I need a minute. Give me a minute. Okay, guys, I'm back. They finally get into Eddy's brother's room and decide to hide out in there for a bit. And just hopefully whoever after them just leaves and goes away and never comes back. I would think with all the property damage that happened, it would have been the parents. But no, not the parents. It's the kids of the cul-de-sac. Yep. Nez, Rolf, Johnny, Kevin. All them guys. Plank, too. And they are all messed up. Like, they got messed up. Like, freaking Rolf has a bit of his side bitten out of him. Like, almost that whole side is almost completely gone. Naz is in a giant baby block with a mohawk. And this part of her head shaved. I don't even know what happened there. Kevin's all beaten to shit. And Johnny has a bear trap on his skull. I know these kids are cartoons and they're flexible, but my God, do they get into some pain. Okay, so the Eds are trying to find a way to escape, and for whatever reason, Eddy's brother has every exit blocked off by bricks. The window, the vent. I'm starting to think this guy has a brick fetish. Ed's trying to escape on the mutant horsey, which is basically the camel. I'm sorry, those of you who love camels and horses. Ed's just a lovable idiot. He's just a lovable idiot. Anyway, Ed finally stumbles upon a in case of movie break glass thing. Okay. Did you really think... There's two ways to interpret that. Either one, he knows he's in a movie, and he knew he was in a TV show, and knew right from the beginning that they were going to get a movie, and left that in there for them to be able to do it. Or he thought that they would watch such a bad movie, such a bad movie that they needed the key to the car that was inside of the peanut that Ed broke with his tooth in order to escape the bad movie. A large part of me wants to assume that Eddie's brother is in alliance with Pinkie Pie and Deadpool. A large part of me wants to believe that. And possibly even Gwenpool. Anyway, so when they finally get the key to the car, they try to start the car, but it won't start. The kids break into the... Okay, seriously, how many times are we gonna have doors broken? You see that door? I try not to break it. I try not to break that door. I do my best to make sure my door is safe because I love my door. I like my door. It keeps heat in, it keeps cold out, it keeps cold in, it keeps heat out. It does all these things. It does all these different things for me. And I love my door. The people in the Eddy universe, they hate doors. They're always breaking them down. So, okay, so in a desperate attempt to escape, Ed breaks his feet through the floor of the car. It was such a nice car, too. Look it up online. Look at Eddie's brother's car. It was a beautiful red car. It was nice. It was a nice car. I would marry that car. And breaks through the... Okay, so now, Ed, we are apparently breaking walls. We're not only breaking the fourth wall, like I'm doing now, we are apparently breaking the walls of homes also. Making sure no one drives a car through my... Alright. Yeah, you better back off. What was out there? Anyway, so we break through... Apparently we're breaking fences, houses, and more property. These boys don't know how not to break any property! Naz then tells everyone that they're getting away, guys, and an epic chase ends up starting. People are hurt. The car goes through shit. The car breaks through a fence. That's probably public property, so you're going to be paying the city for that one. Whatever the... Oh, Peach Creek. They're in Peach Creek. That's the name of it. That's the name of the town. They never said that except in season 5, I think. Or season 4, whichever. I don't know. Anyway, they somehow... The kids rip the roof off the car, because I guess they're superhuman. They're cartoons. They can do that shit. We never have to worry about consistency when it comes to these people. Ed and Eddie decide to be cowards and blame everything on Double D. Double D reaches out, stretches his body like frickin' Elastic Man, or Plastic Man, grabs on to the Ferris merry-go-round, and you dark things ain't never stop me! The kids all go flying off the car, and the Eds are shot out, possibly all the way into the valley. Or, no, not into the valley, into a desert. Ed finally starts running again. The kids are all talking about how they can't let this go. We have to get them. I mean, every other time this has happened, we have to get them this time. Okay, sure, because breaking reality, breaking the fourth wall, and breaking the laws of physics itself was not enough reason to beat them up. The fact that they've done all of this shit that could happen to any normal person in a cartoon is definitely a reason to kill them now. It's definitely a reason to beat them up so they never do it again. Ah! I'm not angry. Shut up. Anyway, so Eddy is certain that they got away from them and that they're too far away to even try and get them. And then finally, and Double D's disagreeing, and Ed, out of nowhere, hits the only rock for Miles. And they literally reference that fact. They literally reference that fact. Guys, I'll be right back. I gotta calm down. Oh, I gotta calm down. Okay, guys, I'm back. Anyway, so after hitting the rock, it explodes into a million pieces. Get rid of that. It explodes into 1,000 different pieces. Somehow, Ed ended up in the muffler. Eddy ended up becoming a window, getting rolled up by Ed. You know, like roll up, like they used to do with the old-fashioned windows. Fell to the ground and shattered. Boy, you should be dead. You lucky you're not. And then Eddy references that the only rock for Miles anywhere, and Ed had to be the one to hit it. Like, boy, what is your luck? What is your luck? Or should I say, what is your bad luck? Is your bad luck the freaking... Okay, I need to calm down again. Okay, so Double D, the godsend of this entire movie for somehow. All the ladies love Double D. Oh. No one comment on that. No one comment on that. Anyway, Double D was apparently the only one who wore his seatbelt, so when it finally snapped, he was dropped to the ground, which should have killed him. Given his age and possibly the height of that rock, he should have died. Anyway, so Double D finally freaks out, saying how he followed all the rules. He followed all the directions. He followed every single principle given to him. And this happened. And this happened. He should have known that their shenanigans, their tomfoolery, their unbelievable fuck shittery would get them into this situation right here and right now. He finally calms down, and Ed starts talking about how how his armpits sweat when Double D is like this, when he's angry. Ed, I don't need to know about your sweaty pits. I don't need to know. We've referenced those in tons of episodes. Episodes I'm gonna have to review. Lord, why must I love this show, and why must I be a reviewer? Okay, so then Double D starts talking about how they're lost souls, and Eddy starts trying to talk about how, haven't I always led you right? Don't answer that. And then Ed has the idea that they should join the circus. That's not a bad idea, especially if you're gonna fold Eddy into an elephant like you did in that scene, my boy. Because Eddy, he would make a perfect world's shortest elephant. That's perfect. That's perfect for Eddy. And then Double D starts talking about how one could get used to the confining nature of tights. Excuse me. Double D, first off, how do you know they're confining? Alright. Well, Eddie finally says that that's stupid, and that he knows exactly where they should go if they're going to be running around doing whatever, and that they should go to his big brother's place. A bunch of talk happens about, well, maybe we shouldn't go, because I'm not really sure your brother would offer us any kind of protection. And then Eddie's like, are you kidding me? My bro's cool as hell. My bro's awesome. My bro's the bomb diggity. Why did I say bomb diggity? Now I'm praying someone shoots me. I will with this thing. Alright. So finally they start going on their adventure to find Eddie's brother, where Double D makes the first mistake that they made. No, actually, the second mistake. No, possibly even the fourth mistake in their lifetime. I know they've made a lot more mistakes than that, but the fourth mistake they made in this movie, or that Double D has done, it's not four mistakes, you know what I mean. Double D decided to leave a little label that says caution or out of order before finally leaving with the others. And then we cut back to the cul-de-sac where Rolf is gathering supplies to go on a journey with his pig Wilfred, which is actually a delight. That pig is probably the only good thing out of the entire movie. Other than Ed's stupidity somewhat gets cute, I suppose. Anyway, so Johnny is sneaking around in a bush, a very long bush, and no one comments on that one either because he's basically crawling through a long thing of shrubbery in order to get to a swing, go up the tree, leave a decoy of him and Plank, and then open an egg that then opens up a secret door to the watermelon lair, where we get the return of Captain Melonhead and Splinter the Wonderwood. It's from here that Plank actually gets really intense. We don't hear Plank say anything at all, but he does end up getting pretty intense. Okay, so after that's done, we then see that Naz and Kevin are going off to find the Eds. And they end up having a bunch of flies run into them. Boy, do you ever skip leg day? Like, how strong are your calves that you could go that fast enough to have flies smash into your face and your girlfriend's face while you're on a bike? Like you're the freaking grill on a truck. How fast are you going? How strong them legs are? How good are your gains? How good are your gains? Seriously. Anyway, so they finally crash, and Kevin is somewhat sounding like he's worried about Naz, but when Naz thinks he's talking about her, he's really talking about his bike, because he just messed up his bike big time. He messed up his bike big time. And starts fixing it with tools that he pulls out of freaking nowhere. Where are you pulling them out of? Your ass? Do you just like to have screwdrivers up your ass? Like, seriously, Kevin, my boy. And where the hell are you getting a wrench? Where the fudge you getting a wrench? And the stupid part is, he fixes his wheel that came off his bike with a hairpin. A hairpin, my boy. Okay, I'm sorry, guys. I just had to take a moment. I had to take a moment to,
Good Lord. Okay, so where was I? Okay, so Kevin finally fixed the bike wheel, and he and Naz deduced that they're more than likely going to Eddie's brother's place. So yeah, we do finally get to see what Eddie's brother looks like in this movie, even though it's only you guys will find out. Anyway, so we cut away from Naz and Kevin and go back to Rolf, who, in my opinion, has too much shit on his pig. I don't mean literal shit. I mean he has too much stuff on that pig. Like there's a mountain of stuff. I would have to say that it's at least the size of the building across the street from me. No. It's at least the size. It's at least a quarter of the way to the side, a quarter away from the size of a telephone tower. Yeah, that's how tall it is, at least in my opinion. Anyway, he somehow gets to the desert in relative time. That pig is fast. They've only been walking for what, a day, and they're already there where the Eds were before. Anyway, somehow the Eds happen upon a pasture full of cows, free roaming cows, and Ed unbelievably decides to draw on a cow's udder. Yeah, that's what he decides to do. Anyway, more talk about Eddie's brother happens. We don't get much of a description of him, except for the fact that of his personality, if he even has one at all. If you can even call it a personality. In my opinion, he's more obnoxious than anything with all the shit that we've seen. Shut some stink bomb recipes, heinous hot sauces, malicious misleading treasure maps. I mean, okay, he seems to be a practical jokester, and Eddie apparently refers to him as the king of practical jokes. Not that I really believe it, because practical jokes, while funny, don't necessarily end up harming others in such brutal ways. Like with the cankers. Okay, so anyway, deducing that Eddie's brother must be a practical jokester, they then try to contemplate on where would someone groom this tendency for gags and puerile practical jokes. And then we get an article in a comic book by Ed. The comic book's not written by Ed, but I don't know anymore. Saying gags and puerile practical jokes at the Lemon Brook Gag Factory. Yes, I know. My Ed voice is almost spot on. I could probably, whatever. Anyway, so that's a very big coincidence. And so they head off for the Gag Factory. Oh my golly gumdrops. These boys, while very, very okay, just somehow upset me as a critic. Okay, so finally we cut to people who have not gotten much of an appearance in this movie as of yet. Sarah and Jimmy with a picnic basket. Now, granted, I don't say much about these characters, but in this movie, they're just... You know what? I'm going to get to the episodes at a later time. I will be doing the episodes. Fear not, ladies and gentlemen. I will be reviewing the episodes. And you will all hear my opinion. But Sarah, being as tough as she says and seems to be, is nothing compared to the Kanker sisters. She's taken down easily by the Kanker sisters, forced down on her back, had her head pushed to the side and had a wet willy given to her without any struggle at all, with barely any struggle. And friggin' Jimmy with his teddy bear underwear. Oh my god, that kid needs some freaking. I don't condone the use of drugs, but get that kid some steroids. He needs them. So Jimmy snitches on the rest of the gang, saying how they're going to beat up the Eds because something big happened. We still don't find out what happened! Damn it! The next thing that we then go to a scene of pretty sunflowers. The Eds, the dumbass Eds, are running around playing games. Ed is pretending to be Agamotto, the lion from outer space, after he gets hit in the face with a sunflower, and the petals just go all around him like a lion's mane. So that for that. And Double D is looking through a handmade sextant. And before any of you laughs at that word sextant, just don't. Don't be Eddie. Don't be Ed. Don't laugh at that word. I'm going to say it right now a few times. And I don't care if I get demonetized. I will say it right now. Sextant. The Eds laugh about it. Double D gets embarrassed about it, and then says that this unnamed device, will lead us directly to the position of the gag factory. And Ed somehow finds a way to fly in the air using sunflowers. Just rubbing his hands together and letting them fly up in the air. My goodness, that boy is strong to be able to do that. Although that really shouldn't matter. They find the gag factory. And my dear Lord, I'm sorry, guys. There's just so much stupidity I can take. Okay, guys, I'm back. And, okay, while I was gone. Okay, what was I going to say? Okay, so we get away from the gag factory for a bit and go back to Rolf, and I'm going to skip Rolf because, well, Rolf's pig is a cannibal. It's a cannibal. It just ate some sausages. And sausages made from pig and other such things. And gosh darn it. We then go back to the gag factory with another door breaking! And finding that the gag factory had been shut down for a while, and I will. Anyone who tries. Just gonna keep this in my lap for a bit. If this joke's gotten old, I don't care. I'm very fearful of this. Anyway, so getting to the gag factory, getting inside, seeing what had happened with everything, and seeing that the gag factory is dark and has not been used in several years, they finally realize that the publication that Ed had given them was written 10 years ago. Over 10 years ago. We get the title of the comic book, Revolt of the Rotting Brains. They tell us that, but they don't tell us about the event. Damn it! And so Eddy starts believing they should give up on finding the big brother. But then Double D somewhat comes to the rescue by saying, well, why don't we look at old employee records? Or even customer receipts. Maybe that will tell us what's going on. Okay, do you even know the big brother's name? Do you? Does Eddy? Like, we've never even been given the big brother was never given a name. All we ever hear him be called is Eddy's Big Bro and Eddy's brother and all that crap. You know, it really shows how little you're ever going to use a character ever when you do not give him a name. When you do not give him a name. Anyway, so cutting away from that, we then have Double D putting on gloves and a mask, looking like some kind of weird evil doctor in the darkness, going over to look at old employee records and customer receipts because, well, gotta find the big bro, and the gloves and mask are because germs, filthy, and all that. Eddy and Ed end up playing with a bunch of props and such. Fake vomit, whoopee cushion, chickens, electric gum, and all that. And finally, Double D starts asking whether or not they're done fooling around or not. And so, when they don't respond to him, he goes looking for him. Big mistake, because they're going to come out in a bit and scare you by pretending they have a cleaver in their skull and a fork through their brain. And then they give him a can of jelly beans, and I'm almost going to assume that they're Bean Boozled beans, because that would be just as fucked up as what they do to him instead. He opens a can of jelly beans and a bunch of snakes. A huge amount of snakes. Like a nuclear explosion amount of snakes come flying out the can, up the smokestack of the gag factory, and out like a volcano, flying everywhere. And then Naz and Kevin find the snakes, and Kevin's like, dorks, with an evil grin and all that. And then I don't even know how they got from Peach Creek to wherever the hell they are now. I don't even know how. So then we cut back to Rolf, and he's got his shoe behind his back, like he's gonna hit the pig. The pig and Rolf fight, and the pig wins. He definitely wins. Like, there's no contest. He won. Rolf ends up having a meat grinder stuck over his head. I don't even know how that makes any friggin' sense at all. Cartoon logic, but still! Oh, gosh darn it. Okay. Okay. We finally get back to the Eds, because this movie's supposed to be about them, not about everyone else. Okay. We get back to the Eds, and the Eds are looking for Double D, who I guess was sent flying by the snakes. And somehow, Double D ends up getting stuck to a rock over a waterfall by his hat. Holding on for dear life, Ed throws Eddy up at him to knock him off the waterfall rock. They go into the water, making a tsunami-sized splash, going back into where it was before, and then splashing Ed. And Eddy comes at pulling Double D out by the thing on his lip through the gap in Double D's teeth. Oh, gosh darn, that's like an indirect kiss. We really don't need that. We really don't need that. We don't. I don't particularly say no to anything like that, in all honesty, but come on, we don't need that in a kids movie. We don't. We then cut from the Eds, who are now talking about Eddy's brother living by the sea and thinking about using the current from the waterfall to go to Eddy's brother's retreat. And then we get the Cankers and Sarah and Jimmy. The Twerps escape somehow, some way, but the Cankers are hot on their tail. We then go back to Johnny, who is still in Peach Creek, and ends up trying to take the bus to Revenge. Plank takes control of the bus. I don't know how a plank of wood does that. But anyway, we then cut over to Kevin and Naz, who are in the gag factory and looking for clues about where the Eds might have gone, and trying to be quiet in case the Eds are still there. But they're not anymore. Kevin decides to check the office for whatever information he can probably find on where they went. Naz finds another label that Double D left saying Dusty, Dusty, Dusty. Naz falls through the floor after trying to flirt with Kevin, hits a lever that turns on everything in the gag factory, and then Kevin's bike goes up the conveyor belt elevator and down a funnel thing into a pipe. As Naz follows it, he goes after the bike, but completely says F you to Naz. Some guys just care about a bike more than a woman. I don't know any per se, but some do, I guess. We then cut back to the Eds, who have just made a boat that mimics a mallard, supposedly in order to not cause any harm or disruption to the local fauna. They then decide to put it into the water and go down the stream. And then we cut back to Sarah and Jimmy, who are still hiding and running away from the Cankers. They come across Wolf's pig and decide to ride the pig all the way to wherever the hell they're going. And after Plank has taken over the bus, we then cut back to a destroyed mallard boat. Yeah, somehow the stream led him straight into a swamp, causing him to crash. Now they're in a swamp. Eddy and Ed are playing in supposedly quicksand, because that's what they're making Double D believe as he's struggling to try and figure out a way to get him out. Grabbing a bunch of I don't know what to call them. They kind of look like reeds. They look like hot dog things, like on that, and then there's a stick. And he tries to tie him up into a rope and tries to throw and pull him out, but they've already sunk down in. They come back up after Double D has been crying, and Ed gives Double D a tissue, and Eddy proceeds to say, "Gotcha!" And then they laugh hysterically. So then Double D gets fed up and decides to walk out of the swamp and onto a road. Eddy and Ed follow him, and then there's a fight between them. And I'm not gonna blame Double D. Eddy has had this coming. He deserves a punch in the face. Deserves a punch right in the face. He deserves it. He does need... Okay. It's just my grandpa coming home, guys. I hope. Anyway. So... Anyway, they get into an argument, and Double D talks about going home back to where he could get pummeled and face the consequences of his actions, then wander aimlessly with a so-called friend. And then finally, Eddy bursts into tears saying that was all his fault. Damn, Eddy. I didn't think you had it in you. Normally you blame Ed or Double D for your shit, but this time you're blaming yourself? Well, look who finally became a big boy. Anyway, so they make up and they go down the road toward wherever they're going. Finally, we see two figures bumping around in a pipe, and out spits Naz and Kevin. Kevin rushes to take off his shirt and clean his bike off. Naz comes along and says, "How's your bike?" And then Kevin's like, "Oh, hey, Naz." And then, "Oh, what was that for?" And Naz's like, "It's late, and I'm cold." And then Kevin's like looking down and back at her, down, back at her, and then she's like, "Fine, I'll make the fire." And we get kind of a cutesy little romance scene between Kevin and Naz. But then Kevin ruins it by asking, "Hey, mind if I bring my bike over here? It's cold. The cold is bad for the paint." And then Naz shoves him to the ground, takes his bike, and throws it up into a tree. Dude deserved that. Dude deserved that. He totally deserved that. I don't care what anyone says. He deserved that. He definitely deserved that. Anyway, finally we cut back to Rolf after Naz has screamed at the top of her lungs. Like, she disappeared out of nowhere. Then we go straight over to Rolf, who is in the same exact swamp that Eddy and Double D were in. It's not said whether or not, but like, how many swamps are there in their general area that there could be any difference? So Rolf finally, through luck and stupidity, breaks off the meat grinder that's still on his head, and light shines on his face, and it's the Cankers. It's the Cankers. They grab Rolf, and they do whatever they're gonna fucking do with him. We then cut to a scene where it's like, we're bumping around. There's stars, and then we see a bunch of fireflies flying around, and Ed's like, "Oh no, the aliens are attacking!" And Double D, out of nowhere, pulls a jar out of thin air and takes all the fireflies and puts them in, and just decides to use it as a guiding lamp. They start talking about how they should have stayed at a motel back there, and Double D does say, "Hotels cost money. Do you got any money, Eddy?" And then Eddy's like, "I would have money if my stupid scam worked." We still don't know what the fudge your scam was, dude. Is this the one thing the writers forgot to say at all? That there was a scam? What the hell was the scam? I want to know. Anyway, so they finally stop at some weird tiki-looking thing. I really don't know what to say about any of it. Double D just starts labeling everything around him, saying that it's difficult for him to sleep in an unlabeled environment. Like, what is that? Like, what? What is that? Why? 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 I guess it's a type of OCD that could exist in the world. And they start falling asleep. Alright? They start going to sleep. And now we cut over to a brief scene with Kevin. He's going around saying, she's probably trying to get back at me. For what? I don't know. Starts cleaning off Croft's bike. Sees a silhouette that looks like Eddy, but isn't Eddy. And ends up falling right into a trap where his bike gets smashed again. Okay, guy. I'm going to tell you this right now. And you need to listen. Get it through your skull. Get it into your skull. You love your bike too much. I said it. Let the chips fall where they may. You love your bike too much. If you start naming that bike anything at all, I'm just gonna take it. I'm gonna take it away from you and not let you have it for a month. And then we will not go out for ice cream. We will not. Now I think about it. Austin, if you're out there watching this, Kevin could be you. That red cap, even if it does have a black bill, that red cap. Were you at all obsessed with your bike, my bro? Were you at all obsessed with that bike? Did you ever have a bike? Were you obsessed with it? Did you love it? Did you marry it? What'd you do with it? Anyway, so after his bike gets trashed, we then go on to the Ed boys and their shenanigans in trying to find food. They end up launching themselves somehow onto a Ferris wheel, where they then launch themselves again into a sign that says Mondo a Go-Go. And hey, you know what? I didn't mention it before, but that's the name of the place on the postcard they were trying to read. Ah! It's a destination! Apparently, the postcard is from the place, says where he sent Eddy's brother sent it from. And so they run around trying to find out where Eddy's brother's home could possibly be. And then we cut back to Sarah and Jimmy on the pig Wilfred falling off, and then they're headed straight back toward where Ed and Eddy are. It's like this whole entire journey was leading up to this whole thing. Eddy's about to knock on the door, and surprise, surprise, the Cankers show up and start trying to love on him. Aw, so squish, so cute. And then the twerps, or Sarah, Jimmy, and Wilfred, come out of nowhere and say, "Oh, did we miss the Ed beating?" Kevin grabs on to Eddy's ankle and says, "Nope, you're just in time." No, wait. And then Eddy gets a shit ton of confidence when he says, "In your dreams, shovel chin." Why call him shovel chin? He doesn't have a shovel chin. So he then starts boasting and knocking on his brother's door. Eddy's brother opens the door and they start talking filler and all that, asking if they can stay with him and protect them. And Eddy's brother agrees. You know, he's pretty nice. He's being pretty nice right now, for now. And then the kids start saying how, damn it, I really wanted to make them bleed. I really wanted to put my boot up their ass. Like, can't I have anything? Can we have anything? Can't we have one victory for once? Can't we ever have a victory? And then everyone starts seeing Eddy's brother abusing Eddy. Twisting his leg like it's a freaking wind-up toy. Dude, your leg should be broken after just one of those twists. Just one of those twists should have broken your leg. You are lucky you're a cartoon. And then he starts throwing Eddy at his house, causing black eyes and shit. And then Double D comes over and tries to defend Eddy and tell Eddy's brother to stop. Eddy's brother starts all getting intimidating, getting in his face, and he's like, belittle? He's always been little. You know, making fun of Eddy's size, and then he's like, I like you, girlfriend. Then hits him with Eddy, slamming him into the ground, pulls Eddy back up, and says, you got spunk. And then Jimmy's starting to freak out. Rolf starts getting all buff and masculine, rolling up his arm, revealing this big old muscle. He got them gains again, man. He got them gains. And then all the kids start trying to defend Eddy and the Ed boys. And as Eddy's brother distracted, Ed's backed up against the wall. Ed backs up against the wall right next to the door, and he's like, I can use the door. Will you help us, door? No. Why not? Because you've hurt so many of my kind. And a wall. I know. But I need your help. Motherfucker, I said no. Wait, what are you doing? Pulls the pin out and... The door slams in Eddy's brother's face and sends him onto the ground. Eddy's holding onto the door for dear life because that's why he was holding on. That's why it went flying into Eddy's brother's face. Lands on the door and starts confessing that he lied about his brother. He lied about how cool he was. He lied about how nice he was. And then we just get this emotional, heartfelt character development that we've never gotten from anything involving Ed and A before. So Eddy finally learned his lesson. And the kids come to attack him! Is what you might think, but no, they come to cheer him on. They come to throw him up and be, hooray, hooray, he's alive. We wouldn't want him to die anymore. He gets a kiss from Naz, so wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Yeah, I need to be slapped for that one. Okay, so then Kevin starts talking, and then out of nowhere, the bus that Johnny and Plank were riding on, or sorry, Captain Melonhead and Splinter the Wonderwood, come out of the bus that they were riding, slam the Eds into the ground, stepping on them and be like, have no fear, citizens! Does the hero pose, and then Sarah's like, you idiot! Leave our friends alone! And punches him square in the jaw. Everyone's beating up on him, and it's like, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Well, that's almost the end of everything. Anyway, so then we get to another fourth wall break where Double D starts talking about how we're finally loved and it only took 4 specials, 5 seasons, and a special ending movie, Eddy. And then they start singing a song. And I won't be singing it for you. Because whatever. And then we go to the credits. They're still singing. And then we get Johnny and Plink again, this time plotting to destroy the cul-de-sac. No, I'm not guessing it. So apparently, it's time for the villainous days of the Gourd and Splinter the Dark Shard. And then we have another fourth wall break where apparently Johnny's like talking to Plank, and Plank is telling him, wait, it's the end of the movie? What movie? And that's where it ends. Well, we had a lot of fuck shittery from everyone, but in a way, it's kind of a fitting ending, almost. I mean, we don't have a lot of questions answered, like, well, we have Eddy's big brother answered, that's for damn sure. We don't exactly have Double D's hat explained, because they take it off in the movie one time, but we never get to see what's under that hat. I want to know what's under that hat. I want to know. I will find the creators, and I will ask the question. I will ask, or I will bring back Eddy, and I will put something under that hat. And it will not be a giant penis. I'm sorry. Okay. Anyway. Well, this movie was unfortunately the end of Ed and Eddy. Maybe, hopefully one day, much like Teen Titans and Powerpuff Girls. And in the future, 2020, we, the Animaniacs, maybe we'll get a spinoff. Maybe we'll get more Eds. Maybe we'll even see him in high school. Maybe we'll see him grow up a bit. For now, anyhow, this movie has been reviewed by many people, but I personally wanted to give my own take on all of this. And surprisingly, I'm not dead. I would have really thought that someone... Who wants to fuck with me? I will beat someone with this. I will shoot someone with this, and I will beat him with this. Huh? Huh? That's what I thought. Well, maybe some of them heard my review and decided to calm down. I hope you have enjoyed this review. This has been me, Chris and Lyster-Bradley, reviewing the Ed and Eddy's Big Picture Show. I hope you all enjoyed this review. I've been wanting to do this for a long time and never got around to it. I wanted to do it on the anniversary, but anyway, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share this video with a friend. Good day, good night, and good fortune to you all, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye-bye! Oh, I'm so glad I'm not dead. Call an ambulance.